We live? Are we live or what?
We live, man. Dang.
All right, cool. Cause I'm ready. We kind of
You,
we late. We late right now. People waiting
you
for
ain't
us.
ready. You,
I'm
you
ready.
talking about?
I'm ready.
Let's go.
All right, man. So we about to get going. Give it about a minute or so. Let's see who we can get all in the chat. Um,
Sounds good to me.
but I gotta talk to John though live on stream so everybody can see it, man. You how about them Falcons though?
I forgot all about that.
I mean, y'all beat a sorry team. So.
Hey, I should have asked you about them Falcons last week though, David.
Hey, you can't talk about last week. We in a new week, brother. You can't be bringing up old stuff, brother. You know what I'm saying? We talking about right now.
Oh, you gotta do them like that.
Hey, we gave y'all a run for y'all money.
Oh no,
it's all good. T-Roy, you ain't even got no football team. You got a football team, T-Roy?
Yeah, I'm a Niner.
Oh, y'all trash, dude. Right,
well,
so
let me tell you something about football. Okay, first of all, I haven't really watched football for like the past 2 years. Situation. And the year before that was kind of like falling off already. So I'm still a diehard Niner fan. I just don't. The NFL just doing some things that I just can't get with, man. I just can't. But look at them Lakers though. Look at them Lakers though. We out here fighting.
You feel me?
You saw Nip Huss pull up like what? Who wanted two? Nip was ready too. The whole city's ready.
Yo, wallet. Yo, what's up with Rondo spitting in people's face though, man? That's cold.
Bro, that wasn't intentional.
Mouthpiece.
Yeah, how you gonna
spit in somebody's face, man?
No, he did it on purpose. He don't like it.
I still don't think it was purposely.
It was on
purpose. How you don't think it's purposely spitting somebody in face, bro?
It wasn't.
He had on the mouth guard, bro.
He did. I know you played sports. I know you had a mouthpiece in your mouth, and you was talking to somebody and accidentally spit on them. Come on, man.
Nah, I don't know, bro. I don't know. Hey. He did it deliberately.
Hey, bro, if he did it deliberately, you'd be able to tell if it was deliberately. To be honest.
Well, you can't do it crazy. You got to do it like on the low. You gotta. Shut up.
Like something else. I'm like spit. That look like something else. You doing? But I saw on Instagram. I saw Drum was out there getting it last week at what was it called? The
fallout.
Yeah, I haven't seen the camera do a panoramic view. I said, look at that man. Look at him.
Hey, we was trying to get Davion out there, but he was tripping. He was playing.
He's scared. He's scared. That's all it is.
Nah, ain't nothing to do with scared, dog. I'm chilling, dog. I'm chilling. it took me a minute to even get there. Dude, your boy was under the weather last week. But it's about to get this show on the road, man. We got a great topic. You got a lot of things to talk about. So let's introduce ourselves as always. I go by the name of Bake.
I go by the name of John.
I'm the smoothest brother on your TV screen, T-Roy.
And I go by the name of Jawan.
And we are the
Mama's Boys.
All right, we getting better. All right, man. So before we get started, make sure y'all leave a like and comment to all the viewers just watching right now. And then please state your name. My boy John is going to be taking care of that. You know, he did a really great job last week on stating the names. He did really good, man. He was chiming in with the comments. That boy was on point. So I'm going to give what you mean? You can't do it today because you're on your phone?
In the office today. I'm on the celly.
That's tough.
I'm back to the basics. Bro.
That's tough.
Basics.
Oh, damn, man. Well, I'm going to do the best I can. You know, I'm going to let you know right now. If I butcher your name, don't be mad at me. Be mad at my degree, all right? They didn't teach me how to pronounce the names like that, all right? But anyway, on to today's topic, man. We talking about how do men deal with their emotions in life when they're dealing with issues, and how do they deal with their emotions when they're dealing with relationships. We love when we get you guys to chime in on our discussions because it helps us, you know, sway on other topics and things like that and have even greater discussion. So whoever's watching right now, if you're I can't even talk right now, you know, but if you're persuaded to comment, do so. because it will help us go a long way. But anyway, starting it off, man, just emotions in general. I always like to get your opinion first. Like when y'all dealing with your emotions, when y'all going through some issues, let's just say focus on life just first before we just go in there with the ladies. When you're dealing with issues in life, what do you do when you feeling emotional, when you feeling upset? Like, how do you deal with your emotions? Who wants to stab at that?
Let's see. I mean, I get a first crack at this one. I think like in life when I'm dealing with my emotions, I think something that I've done in the past, usually like if I'm stressing or if let's say something might be going on with family, uh, or it just might be a difficult situation. I think for me, I just really try my best to give it some thought and then let it go, wash my hands with it when those circumstances come up. And as far as like the emotions that come with it, um, I think more so until recently, I've just kind of just pushed emotions aside. Emotions have been like, they could be what they call it. I think it's like what debilitating. You know what I mean? They could get in the way and stop you from doing things. So, you know, being caught up with work, being caught up with school, like, I gotta keep going to the next. I ain't got time to cry. I ain't got time to sit there in anxiety or feeling low because I gotta keep moving. I gotta keep going. So I say until recently, I didn't necessarily process emotions. I just kept myself busy, kept pushing, putting my head down and going through. Now, since I'm studying counseling, uh, I think I've learned to try to process emotions a lot more, so they don't just come up, or they don't just come up out of nowhere. So definitely now I'm trying to process my emotions. I'm trying to sit in them a little bit if I'm a little upset or if I'm a little sad or even if I'm feeling good or I'm feeling joy. I try to sit in them a little bit, which isn't always comfortable for me, but I'm trying. I'm trying to practice this awareness. I'm trying to practice it being aware of what I'm feeling, aware of my thoughts, aware of my emotions. But it's still not easy. It's definitely difficult. But for the most part, now I'm definitely trying to process. I'm trying to sit in those emotions a little bit and try to figure out where the emotion is coming from, and things like that. So that's where I'm at right now.
Hmm. Appreciate that, brother.
For me, I can only speak for myself, but I know just growing up, where we grew up, it was taught not to have emotions, right? You're not supposed to like really show emotion. Men are not supposed to cry. All these things that we were taught, especially as black men, that we're not supposed to do. So growing up for me, I didn't really have emotion like that. You can really ask people like I've been intimate with, who I dated. Like emotions for me was never like really a thing, and it definitely hindered me a lot. I know it has. I think I'm working on it. I think I'm getting better. For me, it starts with communication. I like to talk about my emotions now to people because I think that just helps me understand different point of views and sides to everything. The more you get to learn yourself and know yourself, the more you want to be more like emotions. You know what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
I'm definitely working on it. I'm not perfect at all because I like to brush things to the side because like I don't know. Just how I grew up, I still feel like emotions are just not the best thing to have if you're not having a solution for it. Like you can. I'll give you an example. So my grandma passed in 2012. The Rock, my Superwoman, my everything, right? She passed in 2012. I didn't really cry until I was on set. This was 2015, I believe, when I had a crying scene that they didn't put in the movie. First of all, the crying scene was amazing because after I got done, everybody was clapping, but they didn't put that in the movie. Side note, but that was the first time like I really cried. I brought those emotions out from that, and I cried. You know what I mean? And that kind of shows you how much emotion I have in my body. I just kept inside me because it's not okay to be have emotions. So I'm working on it, man. I am definitely working on it. And to be connected with me and have relationships with me, you have to understand that. Like, all I can do is try. So yeah. I don't know. Somebody give me how do men deal with emotions? It's hard for us because we're the backbone. Once we have emotions, then it's like, oh, you're weak.
Mm.
I don't know.
That's real, man. That's
For
real.
me, growing up, it was kind of like it was kind of hard to express, emotions or how you was feeling, because I was brought up to where the saying was "men don't cry." So that stuck with me until about earlier this year. And it was hard for me to kind of express my emotions sometimes when it's something like serious. But I learned that expressing the way you feel is sometimes the best way to get through things. Because if you keep it bottled up, all it's going to do is distract you from achieving your goal, or it's going to stop you from interacting with different people, or it's going to affect your social life, or it's going to affect the things that you got to get done in order to survive. And I learned that talking to someone most of the time is the best thing to do, because it kind of gives you a clear head, it levels your head out, and it gets you to thinking like, okay, this person will want me to do this, or I need to do this, and not continue to think about, these emotions that I'm having. So for me, I learned that the best thing to do was to let it out. It's okay to cry. Everybody cry. We all human. If you cry, that don't mean you weak. Everybody got either a sensitive side, or they're going through something. They lost a loved one. And anything is possible. So me coming to the realization of that, it kind of had me to think like, this whole time, me growing up, after I was being taught that men don't cry, that was a lie. So that's how I feel about when men dealing with emotions. And like T. Roy said, when we do cry, some people tend to think like, oh, since you're a man and you're crying, you're weak. But to me, it's like, nah, if you're a man and you crying, that mean you human. Because I don't know no human being that's not gonna cry if they lost someone that they love or close to, or if they're going through something.
Yeah, man. That everything y'all said is straight on. You know what I'm saying? I think when it comes to dealing with emotion, we're a product of our environment, of our upbringing, what we're around, playing football, you know what I'm saying? When we was playing football in outside, and you play sideline pop, if you was to go like, ow, you was considered a punk, you was considered soft. You know what I mean? Everything you see on TV of masculinity and what it means to be masculine, it's always dominant, it's always powerful, it's always the leader. And so we used to mimic that. You know what I'm saying? We watch these role models on TV and we trying to be like them. And then I give you this prime example. I remember the first time I played Pop Warner football, I hated getting hit. You know what I'm saying? I hated getting hit. And this dude, I mean, this dude power drive me, put me up, hit me hard, threw me in the ground, and I started crying. Dead ass. I took off my pads, was like, I'm done with football. I don't never want to play again. You know what I'm saying? And my pops, he was like, man, you don't stop crying, man. Put your damn pads on. I ain't spend all that damn money for you. Being a little punk, man. You out here because you get hit one time, you gonna quit. You know what I'm saying? And me, I'm hurting right now. I'm like, man, I really don't want to play this sport. I'm only playing because you want me to play it. You know what I'm saying? I don't like the fact of hitting somebody. I'm not a hitter. I want to play basketball, if anything. And so I was taught at a young age, you know what I'm saying, is that this is how you got to be masculine. Man is supposed to be a protector, a provider, somebody who's a support, and now, when I was in going through life, when I was dealing with my emotions, I just hold them in. I rarely cry. My grandma died. My first grandma died in 2008. I didn't cry not once. I didn't even know how to cry. I went to a funeral, everybody's bawling, and I'm standing there and I'm not crying. You know, I don't know. I was just like, dang. My only thing I'm thinking about, I need to go make sure I see my other grandma before, you know, because I don't want to lose her. You know what I'm saying? Because my thing was it just hurt, but I didn't know how to express it. And so then it happened like it always times when I cry, it's when it's built up. I just can't take it no more. And I'm by myself and I'm in my own space. And it's usually, I ain't gonna lie, I ain't gonna hold y'all, man. It's a secret. But I always cry on like romantic movies. Like when they do some romantic stuff, I ain't gonna hold you, bro. I ain't gonna hold you. When or it's a touching point in a movie that is real touching. I feel like that's when it come out. Cause I'll be crying over just like, whoo, you know, and I'm and the crazy part about it is that I'm still trying to hold in those emotions. My emotions trying to come out. And you ever been where you was crying and you like, mm, and you holding that thing and you know, and then it just start coming out some more, and then you just mm, and you trying to breathe so you can control it. And so then when I got in the counseling program, they told me I have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable, and being uncomfortable was crying, showing my emotions. That made me feel uncomfortable. So when I start seeing students cry in the beginning of my counseling state, I didn't know how to deal with them. You know what I'm saying? I'm looking like, damn, you want a tissue or something? Like I didn't know how to process what they was going through because I was so damn uncomfortable seeing somebody cry, and I didn't even know how to cry myself. So how I'm gonna counsel you or how to deal with your emotions, I don't even know how to do on my own. And so it took a lot of processing. It took a lot of healing. It took a lot of counseling myself. I even went to go talk to a counselor, and it really helped me be more comfortable of being, you know, uncomfortable and letting my emotions show, you know. And then it got to the point where I let my emotions show around females. I was considered soft. I was considered sensitive. I was considered weak. I was considered not manly enough. I was a sensei poo or whatever you want to call it. And then it put up this barricade like, well, damn, like I'm trying to let go of what I'm dealing with, but how can I do that if every time I do that around a like particular woman, I'm looked at as sensitive. I'm looked at as soft. I'm looked at as a weak man. So what am I supposed to do? So I feel like it puts us men in a dilemma of what do we do? How do we process it?
All right. And it's interesting because it seems like, you know, we aren't, when it comes to certain emotions, right? It's kind of hard to be vulnerable and show those emotions. But the interesting thing is like, right, I think the one emotion that men have no problem showing is anger, right? Like that's the one where it's just, you feel me, fight or flight kick in, and it's what's happening. I'm Hulk. I'm angry, you know. Right. So I think that's the one that's really interesting. You know, growing up, I think back to, you know, my relationship with my aunt. My aunt raised me, and the way we communicated when we were upset was like, you know, my aunt was very authoritative. You know, LMA was a straight G. But it was like I was a child. I had to stay in a child's place. She could be upset. She could be the big bad one. And as a child, you know, I couldn't talk back. I couldn't communicate how I was feeling. So I never really communicated emotions, right? Because at home, that's not what was going on. But let somebody at school talk to me crazy, right? I feel like I take all that shit out on them. Like, all right, I can't talk back to my auntie, but I'm gonna get at you. What's happening? And we could throw hands. So I think the anger is slightly different. I think that's one that men show a little bit more. I think it's a little more reactive. Less thought goes into it, and I feel like the other emotions were kind of we because we aren't vulnerable or want to be vulnerable, we kind of suppress those. But anger is the one that comes out.
So why do you guys think that men are taught not to cry? Because we all kind of said that, and it's been stuck in my head. Like, why you think we're taught not to cry? Like,
I
Well,
think if the answer to the question, I really think it's because that's what they was taught. I think we are a product of history and what's been taught from generations to generations. If you think about it in past in years when we wasn't even born, we was taught to be the man. The man was out there doing the work. The man was out there working hard, and they couldn't be emotional. They couldn't be show any signs of vulnerability because then that show your enemy or your opponent or people that's out there trying to bring you down a weakness. So you have to be tough. You have to be strong. Because think about it, when you look at movies, whenever you see somebody's weak, somebody just prowls on them and attack on them. Even with animals, if an animal feels like they can beat that animal, they prowl on them based off their fear. And if you can't show any fear or any signs of weakness, and being emotional is a sign, quote unquote, in our societal norms of weakness in some people's eyes. And so I think that's why a lot of us are taught men are supposed to be strong, like colors wise. Man supposed to wear blue, women supposed to wear pink. You get what I'm saying? Even in that scheme, before you even born, blue is boys, pink is girls. You know what I'm saying? You taught before you even come in this earth that this is a masculinity color. It doesn't represent a female if you're wearing blue, but anybody can wear those colors. You get what I mean? So I just think it's something that you're taught at a very, very young age, and you just grow with it and throughout the media. It start to embody that and strengthen that stigma of weakness if you show any sense of vulnerability.
About that.
that's a good answer. Do we have any comments?
We got some comments. Latifah Compton, as far as shout out to our girl Latifah, back again since from last week. As far as emotions, how do you guys communicate with your significant others when you're angry or in a disagreement? I feel men shut out the relationship or their relationship when they're mad.
Definitely, I do. I think like I said, I'm working on communication, but I think if I'm angry, I'm angry. 'Cause I'm telling you, no, don't talk to me right now. I don't want to. Just leave me alone. I need time to think. I need time to breathe. It's not a good thing because you push people away. I understand that, so I'm working on it. But that's just to answer that question. That's just what That's what I've kind of done. It's just like because I'm not an angry person. You know what I mean? So when I do get angry, you have to really push me there. Like I almost fought somebody at work the other day. It was so random, but I was still cool. I was cognizant, but like I was about to beat him up. Anyway, what I'm saying is, what was the question? I forgot. The whole
uh,
word thing's got some. It
she
threw
was
me off. But
saying,
yeah,
when you're in an angry or in a disagreement with your significant other, how do you handle your emotions?
yeah. I mean, I just tend to walk. I walk away. I tend to walk away. But now I'm trying to work on communication, trying to find a common ground. But I also believe women just like to argue. That's just my belief. So
Mm.
yeah.
What about you, Juwan? What do you, when you since you are in a relationship? What do you do when you and your significant other have a disagreement?
Oh, me personally, sometimes I tend to shut them out, but then I got a problem with like just jumping to conclusion. Well, not necessarily jumping to conclusion, but just coming out and telling you straight up how I feel and what I don't like or what the problem is. Like sometimes I'm a either stick to myself and just stay alone, ignore you, or 9 times out of 10 I'm probably just come straight at you like, yo, I don't like this, or the problem between me and you is this and that, and like I got this thing to where like it's like I don't care how you feel at the moment, but I'm gonna let you know how I feel, and if you take it the wrong way, then I honestly don't know what to tell you. Like I'll apologize later, but right now I gotta get this off my chest, and if your feelings get hurt, like I apologize, but I gotta let you know how I feel. And to me, it's crazy because I feel like I can do that easily when it comes to my significant other, and when it comes down to certain issues that I'm having in my life. Like I feel like if there's a problem between me and her, I could straight up tell her like, "Yo, I don't like this," or "This the problem." But if I got a problem and within like my family or like social life or something like that, I tend to kind of put it on a back burner and let it bother me instead of talking to somebody about it. So I don't know. It kind of, how can I put it? It's like, to me it's kind of strange. It's weird how I can, when it come to her, I can just straight up tell her how I feel. But if it's a certain issue or problem that I'm having, it's like, well, this your issues, you know, just deal with it how you want to deal with it. And 9 times out of 10, I either ignore it or I just put it on the back burner and let it bother me sometimes to where, that ain't good.
Mm.
I think for me and in my relationship, is it can be difficult, like when there's conflict. Um, my initial response to conflict, I think is, one, I don't like it. I don't like men. Like, I don't think men like conflict, especially in relationships. I've been reading up on this actually, and men just want to have fun. You say they say ladies just want to have fun, men just want to have fun. We do not want to argue. We don't want to fight. We just want to have a good time. And when there is a conflict, we like, damn, like, can we just get back to the fun? Like, why do we have to fight? Why do we have to have an issue? And what I'm learning is women during conflict like to use that time to connect. But in the heat of the moment, like what I do sometimes is sometimes, like, they call it stonewalling, where it's like I just cut everything off. Like, I ain't trying to hear it. I ain't trying to argue. I ain't trying to fight. Like, leave me alone. Let me be. And then sometimes it's like it's just too much. Like, the emotions are too intense. It's like a motherfucker can't think straight sometimes. Like, you trying to get shit out of me that I can't give you because I can't even think right because my head all fucked up. And in those moments, I need time. Like, I really need time to relax, get my shit together, so that I can have that effective conversation and we can work things out. I think 9 times out of 10, uh, you know, like, having those difficult situations for me, I have to to really be aware of my thoughts in those situations, because when I'm beefing with my girl, we got an issue. If I got negative thoughts, I'm not going to be effective. If I'm angry, I'm not going to be effective. So I got to be aware of what am I really feeling, because usually, like, the anger and the stonewalling and all that other shit is comes second. So usually I probably didn't have my feelings hurt, right? I had an expectation that my girl didn't meet. You feel
Mm-hmm.
me? You was supposed to know that when I came home, I wanted something, or that I was expected to be done a certain type of way, and then it didn't get done, right? And so there's this. You feel me? My expectations did get met, so now we beefing, right? So and I'm trying to be able to vocalize these things. I'm working on being able to vocalize these things, right? So when I do have my feelings hurt, or whatever it is, trying to be vulnerable enough to say, hey, feel me, that shit hurt my feelings, or I didn't like what you did, or we wasn't on the same page, and so we can work that stuff out. I think sometimes, right, because we don't want to have these conversations, or sometimes we don't know how to have these conversations, because, like we just talked about, we just bury emotions. We don't talk about shit. All of us just pretty much said we don't do too much talking about emotions. So, you feel me? Like, I'm still trying to practice. Like, I'm just learning how to talk about my emotions and how to talk about what I want and how I'm feeling. So, um, I think Latifah, straight out of Compton, right? When you dealing with your man, you gotta understand, you gotta learn about him. You gotta learn, how did he grow up dealing with emotions? How did he grow up processing things? How did he grow up communicating? You gotta learn that, right? And then also learn how to communicate effectively together. Um, I'm fortunate because I got a girl who accepts me for being who I am, and when I'm vulnerable, she allows me to be vulnerable. And when I'm not vulnerable and I'm being a hard head and I'm stubborn, You feel me? She worked with me. She might be upset too, but we work through those things. So, I mean, right now, I think I'm probably like a C plus when it comes to that, but I'm working on it. You feel me? So that's kind of what it is. But I think 9 times out of 10, I'd be like, I ain't trying to talk about it. Like, leave me alone. You feel me? Let's talk about it later or something like that. So we're trying to figure it out what works best for us, really.
Which is cool though, because I think when it comes to the act of anger and being in a disagreement and conflict, I think the one thing that a lot of people don't do, including myself, is we don't tend to process why we're mad, right? We don't process those emotions of what caused us to be mad. Because sometimes we just act out and just be like, God damn, you were supposed to have my dinner ready. You know what I'm saying? We don't even know why they didn't have the dinner ready, why they didn't cook. You know what I'm saying? We didn't get the process why we even upset. I get it. You upset because the food's not ready and you was hungry and things like that. But rather than act out on those emotions, I think the best thing to do, I know they look at it as stonewalling. I just look at it as a time to really process, okay, the whole situation. Then you can talk like, babe, you know, well, what happened? You know, I'm hungry. You know what I'm saying? Because it's all about your tone. You can handle situation and conflict differently based off your tone. You come off and be straight raw emotions like, I don't like that. Why you keep doing that? You getting on my damn nerves. Like, leave. You know what I'm saying? You could be on that, or you can just be like, babe, like for real, like that just I don't rock with that. Like I told you that time and time. Like it just you can have a different conversation based off how you process your emotions. I was watching the Red Table today with Will and Jada, and it was talking about when they got mad, they just walked away and dealt with those emotions first, then came back and addressed those emotions in a different state to be able to really, like organically and like really positively build on that issue. You know what I'm saying? And I think when I'm back in the day, I'm working on it like everybody else in this in on this podcast, is that my number one goal was to leave. That was it. We got conflict, I'm out. You know what I'm saying? If my girl was here, I would leave my house and have her stay in my house. You know what I'm saying? I was out. You know what I'm saying? I didn't want to talk about a damn thing. Like, I didn't want to process it. I didn't want to address it. And then I come back like, we good. Not even dealing with the issue of why we even mad. You know what I'm saying? And I go to sleep upset, angry, and dealing with all this resentment and anger. And then I wake up thinking it's going to be gone. And then I'm frustrated and I get annoyed. Like, I got a short patience. Sometimes they be thinking I'm a female sometimes because my patience be so damn short. Like, if you do something that annoy me and I'm already annoyed, like, I'm getting better at it. But I used to like get your ass on. Like, I don't really want to feel like being bothered. And then I was being too blunt and not being understanding of what they was going through. And not understanding when it comes to talking, it's about that, like John was saying, connecting, man. Like, women love to connect. Women love to really have those connections with their significant other, to grow, to build, to get stronger together as a couple. And I think as men, that stigma of growing up and being not being emotional has caused us to be at a disadvantage, because it's like we don't know how to process those emotions when we mad and when we hurting. Like, it was a time when I cried and I didn't want to cry in front of my chick at the time. Like, I didn't want her to look at me as being weak. You know what I'm saying? And I had a legitimate thing to cry about because I was dealing with a lot of shit at that time. My bills, my everything was just bad. And I broke down and I did. And she was like, why are you leaving? I was like, I don't want to talk about it. I just need some time. And I went on a walk by myself, you know what I'm saying? And it hurt. I think it hurt her even more because she was like, I'm supposed to be here for you. You know, I'm your ride or die. And if you can't even cry in front of me, what does that tell me about our relationship? If you're not even comfortable to be yourself and be vulnerable around me, why am I here? And so I had to really process that, man. I was like, well, damn, that's deep. Well, I'm just not ready. You just got to be patient with your boy. But I just think it's a day-to-day thing that we got to continue to work on as men, to understand, like, it's okay to be emotional. It's okay to be mad. but processing those emotions, learning how to
Mm-hmm.
process it and understand why you dealing with what you're dealing with. Why is this stuff hurting you? Can help us have better conversations and address that elephant in the room of being emotional.
Yep, that's amazing. But hold on, let's go back real quick. You will leave your house and let them stay at your house? Hold on.
Big facts.
Hold on. Hey
Big
man.
facts. I'm
Hey
telling
man.
you, because I didn't like confrontation, bro. I remember one day, bro. I got into it was the dumbest argument, and it was my crib, and I was at first I was like, yo, you gotta go. She's like, I'm not going nowhere. We're gonna talk about it. I was like, well, fuck it then. I'm leaving. And I got my stuff and I did. And,
I
and,
feel it, man.
and she was like,
I
then you
feel
leaving? I was like, yeah, I'm out. She was like, but this is your house. I was like, I don't care. I don't want to be around you right now. I'm out. You know what I'm saying? I want to deal with you
John
right
face.
now because that was my thing. I was a
I feel it,
runner,
bro.
bro. Like, I'm not even going to hold you. Anything that had to deal with conflict, I was trying to nip it in the butt. And if it got too out of hand, I was like, you know what? I'm going to give you space. That was my number one word. That was my clutch word that I go to. I'm going to give you space. I think we need space. Even in relationship, it was like many breakups with the girls I was with. I was like, I think we need space because I didn't want to deal with the issue at hand. So I thought the way to fix it is just space. You do you, I do me, and we'll come back when we good. And it was only hurting it even more. And so it's just learning how to process that. And I'm still getting better at it. But back then that was my outlet to every issue I went through is just running away from the problem, acting like the problem just gonna disappear if I don't think about it. But the problem is it's like a drug addiction and all that stuff. It's always gonna come to your face until you're ready to face it head on. That's the only way you're
That's
gonna deal
true.
with anything in life is you gotta face it. You gotta accept it. You gotta deal with it head on. And so, but yeah, and then
That's
I used to get about my crib, bro.
you, buddy. That's true, though. I think it's also, it takes time, but since we are getting older, we start to understand that we have to deal with these type of emotions. But I think it would help also, like when we talk to people, like-minded people who understands that, it helps too. You know what I mean? But when you're around all your homies that haven't got there mentally yet, it's like, man, you might deal with emotion. What you crying for? You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh snap, it's still not time yet. You know what I mean? But you have somebody talk to you like, look, you have to deal with this. You want to be great out here, you have to deal with your emotions.
All right.
That's when it start forming in your head. Like I was a big guy, like growing up, like I wasn't a drinker, smoker, and then like that. But the homies was right. So I was that guy like, hey man, you sure you want me doing? You sure you want to smoke? You shouldn't be smoking. You shouldn't be drinking. Da da da. They would never stop. You know what I mean? But I was that guy to put it in the ear just in case one day they thought about it. Like man, maybe I should stop. Somebody told them that they should stop. Not everybody saying let's drink up. I was that one person say maybe you should stop. We need at least one. Need somebody. So.
All right.
But I'm gonna drink me some Ciroc. Got them done with this podcast because I got a long week. But yeah, any more comments?
No, I think Latifah, you got any more comments from straight out of Compton? You got some more comments, but definitely Latifah, we definitely appreciate you chiming in. And any viewer that didn't put a comment down and you
That's
watched or maybe
actually her
left.
last name.
What, Compton? Not her last
Yeah,
name?
that's her last name.
Latifah Compton? She from Compton?
Nah, I don't think. Nah,
That'd be
she from
crazy.
like that would be
What's
kind of
wrong?
crazy. Compton,
That,
Compton,
that's what I'm saying.
from Bompton.
Bompton. Hey, you be saying that, bro. You may have some clips up in here, dog. Roll up on you. But okay, so as moving forward, as far as like to sort of wrap up, what do you think you got to do? What do you think you guys got to do, or what do you plan on doing to work on addressing that elephant in the room of being okay to be vulnerable? Especially with your significant other. Like, what do you plan on doing? What do you plan on trying to do to continue to make those strides to be a better man and be able to be okay with being vulnerable or whatnot?
I think it's for me just understanding that it's okay. Just being aware of the situation that I'm in, and to be a better man, you have to know all aspects of yourself, and to do that, you have to know yourself and all its goodness, graces. You know what I mean? So it starts with communication for me. Communication is one of my biggest things. Like if I don't communicate people, It's just horrible. But all I can do is work on it. You know what I mean? I'm trying to shun people out when I get mad and just like, look, let's talk. But then once he started yelling this, I'm like, why are you yelling? I don't understand what's going on. Did it. See, that's what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? Eventually, I just know me. I'm like, but I'm gonna try to hang in there, stick in there, because the Mama's Boy podcast said that I should just communicate with you and connect with you, and I might tell her that when she's yelling at me. You know what I'm saying? She might not know anything I'm talking about, but hey, you never know. It's all about communication. That's all I can say. And barefoot wine.
What about you, John or Jawan? What are y'all planning on doing in the future? You know, since y'all both are in a relationship, how do y'all plan on continuing to work on dealing with that elephant?
uh, for me, it's all about kind of like T-Roy said, communication, and also like you mentioned earlier, not just jumping to conclusion in a way. Learn how to control my anger or my emotions, and just breathe a little bit, and talk to him and see what's going on. Like why something happened or why something didn't happen. And when it also comes to like my social life and family issues, and when things are going on, learn how to express those things as well and not hold it in, because shit like that can cause more problems and health issues for your own, yourself. It can bring on stress, and stress can lead to, you know, all type of health issues. You can pass out, you can have a heart attack, you can have migraines and so forth. So it's just about, being able to communicate and talk and come to a solution when there's whatever the issue may be or whatever the problem is. So that's how I'm feeling.
Oh, cool.
Big facts. I think, for me, it's, continuing to trust my girl and knowing that I could be vulnerable. I could share things, and I gotta, be afraid that I'm gonna be looked at in a certain way. I ain't gonna be looked at as being soft or any of that stuff. So continue to trust and know that I can, say what I feel, express my emotions. And I think another thing is communication. Um, I think me and my girl, we got to the point to where like we know we can have disagreements and we can communicate effectively. Um, we know that we can't do that in the heat of the moment, because every time we try in the heat of the moment, it's not effective. We're not at that stage yet. So I think continuing to try to communicate as best we can in the heat of the moment. For some reason, like, we have these differences, and I always look back on them, and it's like all I needed to say was, you know what, babe, I understand, but right now it's a little too much for me. Can we just have this conversation later? That's all I really got to say. But, because I don't, or because I'm like, I ain't trying to talk, or whatever the case is, we just continue to bump heads. So I think just effective communication, trust, and yeah, I think that's pretty much it. And being aware, right? I think when 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 we're both in a clear head space, we can look back at those moments and we can assess them and see where we can improve and see what we can do better. And I think that's part of it as well. And when you're wrong, you gotta say you're wrong. You know, yeah.
No, big facts. And that's all we can do as men is to continue to get better, continue to make those strides, and understand too it's a two-way street. You know, we can do all this work, but if our partner's not working with us and they continue to practice these bad habits, you know what I'm saying? How can we grow as men? So we have to think about that too. If we're in those situations where it's not allowing us to grow and improve and be comfortable with that, then, maybe those are not the people we need to be with. Not saying that's the case with none of you young men and none of you brothers.
Hey, it's not always the man. Yeah, tell them about themselves, baby. Tell them. Tell them.
That part.
You know, but we appreciate y'all for tuning in. We got another dope episode. We're gonna be dropping next Monday, so make sure you're here same time at 8:30 Pacific Standard Time, 8:30 p.m. Hey, don't forget, man, to leave a like and a comment and share this podcast to someone you may know that can be, empowered about being comfortable with being vulnerable and sharing their emotions, man or female as well, because there are some females out there who don't even share their emotions either. So whoever can use it to help. But without further ado, that's gonna do it for us, unless y'all got something else y'all gotta say, any public announcements or anything like that.
I got one more question, just real quick. I'd like to know, have you guys ever had cried during sex?
Nah.
Okay, just asking. I'm just asking.
My whole thing is like, why did you cry? Like, what made?
No.
Like, during the moment, like,
I'm just a question. Sometimes I think people get vulnerable during sex, and I don't know. Just
I heard of women crying. I'm like, I mean, if you cried and you experienced something, and I should be crying, let me know. If I'm missing out on something, let me know.
Now I've seen a woman cry when in a process, and they was just like, it was a heat. I know usually if that moment is like when you had a heated argument and somebody gets emotional, and then sometimes those arguments lead into sex, and they're still crying from that argument. You're like, I'm sorry, and then it's like that Tyrese and Jody type, that Tyrese and baby boy. I'm sorry, baby, I'll never do it again. You know what I'm saying? I've never like myself cried, but I've been in situations where we had an argument, led to tears, and then we ended up having sex, and she was still shedding tears. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, don't cry, baby. I'm here. I ain't going nowhere. I'm saying all the great things. You know how men do. You know what I'm saying? But I've never did it, though. I've never. That's a great question. That's a real interesting question. Or whatnot. But nah. But we will be back same time, same place. On your YouTube screens and on your whatever you want to mean, whatever. I don't know what I'm saying. It's time for me to get the hell up off. That's what that means. But so we love y'all. What you about to say?
They gotta follow us on Instagram. What's the IG?
Yeah, follow us on Instagram at the Mama's Boys Podcast. We're gonna be doing some rebranding, so you should be seeing more professional branding very, very soon. As far as like even on our Instagram with these episodes, some little snippets and things like that. But definitely you can check the episodes out, the replay value from the other 3 episodes that we did on YouTube. And again, every view matters, every like counts. Okay, we love y'all, we appreciate y'all. That's gonna do it for us. I go by the name of Bake.
I go by the name of John,
the smoothest brother on your TV screen, T-Roy.
And I go by the name Juwan.
And we are the Mama's Boys.
The Mama's Boys.
We see y'all next Monday, 8:30 p.m. Peace.